Hello, you guys. Oh, I'm so happy to be here, and thank you guys for being here. Sorry for leaving you waiting for a minute. I lost my phone, which I'm not streaming on it, but I see it. David, hey David, hey Johnny, hey Woofy, Holly, Danielle, hey Miss Mystery. Ooh, I like your name. Hey PJ, Search and Rescue Canine Mom, Princess Megan Elsa, hey Punksy, Leo Girl, Rody Gal, Amanda, Lucia, Ashley, Muffy, Pointer Lover. I know I saw you. Sign on Crime. Hope I didn't miss anybody. I hope you guys are having a good morning. What are you guys up to? I could not wait to come on here and talk to you guys about some of this stuff. New audio. What audio, Corinne? Brian Coldberger. Thank you. You guys are too sweet. I relate. I lost my phone last week, but I lose it all the time. Hey, DB Douglas. Good morning. Hey, Peach. So today we're going to talk about bunch of stuff with Idaho, but also there's some new stuff with Lori Vallow's case. Maybe we'll wait and do Lori at the end, but it's all crazy. I thought all these people are in Idaho. Like, oh my Lord, I feel for y'all up in Idaho. Oh, I'm sorry, Danielle. I hope you feel better. Hey, Glenjamin. Corinne, I actually saw something about that, and it said it was on TikTok, and I couldn't get, I didn't actually get to hear it. Thank you, Amanda. You guys are the best. Hey, Halo Art. What's the user account on TikTok, Corinne? And we can look it up. Hey, Deco. Hey, Halo. Until then, let me show you guys some of what I've got. So let me exit out this little video. Let's see. We got a few things to talk about and look at, which is going to be fun, but I think that I put the actual video interview of Steve on the Today Show. Now, I'm curious, is this him reporting the facts of what happened, or is this him reporting the rumors that he's heard? So hold on just a minute. Where the heck is it? Let me just pull it up on YouTube. And then we have a lot of other things to look at. Let's see. It's crazy because we have heard rumors about this all along. So to hear it from Steve, but also we know that, the family has also been swayed before a little bit from rumors that they've heard or whatever. And I'm not sure that he was 100. Well, I don't know. Let me just show you guys and then you tell me what you think.
Enough for the operator.
The newly Kohlberger making his first appearance Thursday before an Idaho judge.
All right.
Count 2 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree.
Also in the courtroom, the family of victim Kaylee Goncalves, laying eyes on the suspected killer in person for the first time.
Did you ever see him turn back and look at you?
No, I was hoping for that. He's going to avoid me for a while.
Authorities also releasing new details about the night they think Kohlberger murdered Goncalves and 3 other University of Idaho students, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, in an off-campus home. And perhaps the most chilling revelation, one of the 2 surviving roommates telling police she came face-to-face with the killer. Waking at around 4 a.m., she says she heard one of the roommates say, "There's someone here," but didn't see anyone.
Okay, so a lot of people are very curious about this with Dylan, and we have people on all ends of the spectrum, feeling all types of ways, but Kaylee's family wants us to, well, you'll hear. I want you guys to listen. I won't repeat what they said. So is it on Olivia's TikTok? Screaming Xana's name. I don't know how it can't be. Oh my gosh. That's awful. I don't know. I haven't heard it yet. So I don't know. It's here. Let's keep listening.
When she looked herself. According to a newly released court document, she later heard crying coming from the victim's rooms and a man say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." She opened her door to see a man dressed in black and wearing a mask who walked towards her and out a back door as she stood in frozen shock and then locked herself in her room. Police weren't called to the home until noon that day for reasons still not clear. Steve Goncalves describing the roommate's state at the time of the 911 call.
Here.
Got to remember, these two girls were so upset that when they went outside after seeing this, the one passed out and the other one was so hyperventilating that the message wasn't clear enough for the operator.
The newly unsealed
You got to remember, he says, you got to remember these roommates were so upset. One passed out and one was hyperventilating. Okay, Muffy, I don't know if I'm okay. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Peach. I don't know that I'm going to play that here. I'm curious to hear it for myself. However, I don't know. I don't feel right about that. So yeah, we're not going to listen to that here. But yeah, so Steve says that one of them fainted and one of them was hyperventilating.
18-page charging affidavit also says a state forensics lab found the suspect's DNA on the button snap of a knife sheath left laying next to one of the victim's bodies. The charging document also says police used both phone records and video footage of his white Hyundai Elantra to place the suspect near the scene of the crime. And according to law enforcement, the suspect's phone was turned off or had no service for about 2 hours during the time the murders took place. When it turned back on at 4:48 a.m., cellular data showed it traveling on a state highway south of Moscow back to Pullman, Washington, where the suspect lived, authorities allege. But just over 4 hours later, the cell data...
Okay, so I'm really curious about this. Now, let me show you guys. There's other things that go along with this that Steve, here, let me show you. There's another statement by Steve he made regarding the killer's parents, and we'll get into this. And I think this is the comment. So look in the blue. This is from a Facebook post, and their names have been marked out. But in the blue, someone says in the black, the affidavit, just for you guys who can't see, someone says the affidavit just said on the floor. It didn't state where on the floor. It could have been by the bed on the floor. So then there's a comment that says, I know the person who made the 911 call. And he actually went in the house before the police showed up. He told my son where he saw her. They're talking about Xana there. So then someone says, didn't one of the housemates make the call? Did they think the kids were alive, just unconscious? That's what the caller stated. And this person says, the call was made from Dylan's phone, but a male friend, also a fraternity brother, is the one who spoke to 911. Dylan actually fainted outside in the front yard, so he took her phone. He had not been in the house yet, so that is why the initial 911 call stated that a person had passed out at that time. He did not know what had happened inside the house. And I also know that she was very confused about what she had seen and heard. I don't want to give too many personal details, but she suffers from PTSD due to some things that happened in her childhood. So she has extreme nightmares and panic attacks often at night. She told the friend who made the 911 call that she thought she saw someone in a mask in their house, but wasn't 100% sure it wasn't a nightmare. That's why I feel so awful for her. I'm sure she will beat herself up for the rest of her life. But knowing her situation and also that they had been drinking that night, I 100% believe she was just in shock and just tried to talk herself out of what she had seen or heard. So this is just a comment from Facebook. So we know, that's just hearsay, but paired along with what Steve just said on the Today Show, I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. I haven't heard the leak scream, but I would bet it's fake. I mean, how did it leak? Who put that out? I mean, the police came and got the camera, and I don't know. I don't know. MK says exactly, Glenn. He's screaming Xana's name. Well, okay, so we have that comment, and then we're going to go back to what Steve said. Oh, I thought I had it posted out here in writing. So back, let's see. Here.
"It's okay, I'm gonna help you." She opened her door to see a man dressed in black and wearing a mask who walked towards her and out a back door as she stood in frozen shock and then locked herself in a room. Police weren't called to the home until noon that day for reasons still not clear. Steve Goncalves describing the roommate's state at the time of the 911 call.
You got to remember, these two girls were so upset that when they went outside after seeing this, the one passed out and the other one was so hyperventilating that the message wasn't clear enough for the operator.
The newly unsealed.
So you pair the comment with Steve's comment along with what we heard initially, that somebody was unconscious in King Road, remember, or like on the road. We were hearing that they were outside and we didn't know if it was kind of lost in translation or what. Hey, Crown with K. They are saying someone hacked the Ring doorbell. Oh, okay. I don't want to hear it, as I will never get it out of my mind and picture that poor young man and the horrific time he went through. I don't blame you. I think that's really sad to think about. I forgot, some of these folks have actually made relationships with the Goncalves family, and they definitely are watching their channels and stuff. So I don't know. That's sad. Okay, so now another statement that came out from Steve Goncalves, and I actually got this from Parker, who she has a great channel. She has a great heart. I enjoy Parker. She says, this is a quote. He says, quote, "I have no ill will towards you. You have a baby. You have a family. You have these kids. You did your best." Now, this is to Brian's parents, okay? You did your best. His wife shares the same job responsibilities as my wife. It's really weird. Most people don't know that, but my wife teaches at a school. So does she. They actually have the same certificate of learning. I could see them as a family that unfortunately had a child that made some poor decisions, very poor decisions. Maybe they've seen some red flags they probably should have brought up, but I don't know that. So I have no ill will for them, and I really feel bad for them. I really do. If one of my children put me in that situation, I would be like what they did. I would love them, but I would be very sorrowful, and I don't know how I would deal with that. That's a different kind of pain than what I'm dealing with today. Steve Goncalves. Oh my God, this family, all of them. It's horrific what they're going through. Yeah, the last scream was fake. And hey, MJ, it definitely sounds real to me. There's a dog barking. You can hear people saying different things. Yeah, I don't feel right playing it, you guys. Now, there was a full page redacted. I was thinking about this last night. The part of, if we go back to the affidavit, I've got it right here. That first page that's redacted, it's when they're talking about Ethan, his injuries. And I find it so interesting that they describe their injuries a little bit different. Let's see. We have a bunch of other stuff to look at too, but just quickly, where is that? Or did I miss it? Because I thought it was at the beginning. There we go. Yes. So also in the room later identified. So they talk about Kernodle. Look, Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Then they talk about Ethan and his wounds. Later, they describe his was also deceased with wounds later determined. And then we have a whole page redacted. And then they finish the parentheses, later determined to be caused by sharp force injuries. That is such an odd way to say that when the other ones have injuries that appear to have been caused by an edged weapon. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. It's just interesting the way that they describe that differently. I also find it interesting, the order in which things were charged. And we've talked about that before, but, I don't know for sure that it has any significance, but I believe that it probably does. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, you guys, just quickly. Have you guys seen this? Do you think this is him? If you think it's him, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't think it's him, put a 2 in the chat. Yeah, Amber. Hey, by the way, good to see you. And you'll know how to find it. Yes, Muffy. And yeah, you can, people are welcome to go find it on their own. They're just wondering where to find it. Undecided. Ears are different. Well, it's at a little bit of an different angle though. That because I do see what you're saying, but I have to wonder if he turned his head just like 10 more degrees to the right, or just slightly to the right, would his ear look like that at that angle? I don't know. Because I was also looking at like where his ears are in relation to his eyes, because we were looking at that before. Where at, Wuffy? Let me see. Yeah, those mattresses that came out, I just saw that. I'm going to put it in the folder to look at. That is pretty hard to see as well, you guys. I don't know. Some of this stuff is just tough. So 2, 2, 2, 1. Okay, it's a mixed bag. Looks like his nose and ear. 1, 1. Hey, Seth. Very close for sure. The ear does look different. What was the question? Do you think that this is him? 1 if you do, 2 if you don't. Recording is in the Facebook group. The photo isn't clear enough for me to decide. Ears not clear enough to decide. Can't decide what shadows and what is ear. Forehead not prominent. Interesting. Can't decide. Not the best picture quality. Looks more similar than the other comparison. I agree. I'm not convinced either. I didn't get the video or anything. Yes, I have a cold, the real John Doe. My nose is running like crazy right now. Like crazy. I'm getting over my cold. My nose runs constantly. I don't know if it's from smoking cigarettes or what, but yes. Let's see. Look at chin shape. He has a t-shirt on. Everyone else is wearing coats. If I don't sniffle, I literally have to. So it is what it is. I'm betting it's real. We'll find out at the trial. I'm really also waiting to find out at the trial about that Papa Roger or whatever. Cough constantly. Or I'll help you see your way out, people. Thank you, guys. Okay, back to this. Now, I know this has been talked about, but I haven't talked about it here. And I just like the way that this person, like Amber, I think is who sent this to me. But Amber sent this to me. But I know that Teresa was also kind of talking about the same thing. But this diagram is just so perfect to see how they could have came face to face with her in her room, because it's at an odd angle. So I'm going to read this to you guys really quickly. It says, I have a degree in forensic science, which I think is why I'm so interested in this case. But from some of my knowledge and what I've learned, I just wanted to bring up something I think is important involving Dylan and BK's interaction. We see that Dylan's door opens inward towards her, which I think is extremely important because she could have possibly just cracked the door open a little. And that's how she was able to see BK and get somewhat of a description, because he had to walk through that doorway and turn into the kitchen. I'm very curious as if BK even saw her or if her door opened inward and she possibly just cracked the door open. I think small details definitely make a big impact. So yeah, I liked seeing this, so I wanted to be able to show you guys too. There would be a split second that they would almost be straight face to face. Peach, I'm confused as well where they found them. And I was looking last night. It's actually not clear. We have that huge redaction about Ethan. So look, when we go, we know that Xana was in the floor. When we go back to the affidavit and they talk about where they were found, he says, I walked upstairs to the second floor. Oh, Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned was Xana Kernodle's. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body later identified as Kernodle's laying on the floor. So was it even in her room? He says that, he was directed towards a bedroom, which was Xana's bedroom. Just before the room, there was a bathroom door. As I approached the room, I could see a body laying on the floor. Doesn't actually say was the body in the doorway, right beside the bed. It's not 100% clear. And then it goes on to say, also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan. He was deceased with wounds later determined. And then we have that redaction. And then to be caused by sharp force injuries. That's it. Then they go to the third floor of the residence, and they're actually not clear 100% on exactly how they were. And I think that they're probably, we'll find out in the trial, of course, but maybe they did that for a reason. They leave a lot out. This is just going to be like, one retired officer said, the affidavit is just the bare bones. Hey, welcome, coincidence theorist. Coincidence theorist. That's the affidavit, Vicky. I did see food in a window that looks like a bedroom. I could be wrong, but I have the photo. Are you talking about a Jack-in-the-Box bag, and it's beside of like a little planter that has some dirt around it that looks like it maybe got knocked over? Hey, Jared. Also in the room was, so yeah, I guess they are both in the room. I don't know exactly where. Xana's in the floor, but she could be in the doorway, or I don't know, because maybe just the door was open. But that tells me, well, actually, no, it doesn't tell me that anybody would have seen them, because he's not the first officer in the house, right? We know that from here. He says, upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing. Officer Smith, which was one of the initial officers responding to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. This thing you could read over and over and over, and you're still going to find little details, little things about the way it's worded that give more insight, or you know what I mean? It's crazy. This goes well with my coffee. Awesome. I had to run out to the store this morning too. Thank you, Jared, because I didn't have any Mellow Yellow. I needed some caffeine, and I was not going to go live until I had it here. I think they only put the minimum info into the affidavit. They certainly don't want to show all their cards yet, so to speak. I think we will know how slippery this piece of shit will be. Yes, I agree with you completely. Thank you, Peach. Where did you send that? Oh, probably Messenger. Let me look. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. Now this is the photo, which in the background has that, what appears to be, or could be, and some say Duty Ron and Ed are under the impression that it's blood. I think I'll have to pull it up on the thing. Okay, let's go back to here and see what else we have. We have a couple videos, articles, a few things to look at. Let me see. We're skipping around a little bit. here is what Peach had just sent, talking about the food in the window. And if you see where my mouse is, like if the picture was moved up a little bit, this is where what some people assumed could have been blood was. I'm not 100% sure where this is at. I know that Woofy has tried to, like, we went back and forth around this, but I still, hold on. Okay, so this photo came out yesterday, and sadly for the family, you know, this is just something that we have to keep in mind. Aw, thank you, Search and Rescue K9. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. No, I haven't got into Vallow Daybell yet, and it's really interesting. I cannot wait to tell you guys about it. We aren't far. We have to go through a couple of quick videos, and then we'll get into that. So this photo came out yesterday. You know, you can see that what appears to possibly be some sort of dark stain that you can see through the mattress cover. I know that there's some people kind of debating if it's a twin bed, a full-size bed, what that is. And I think that comes along with in the affidavit, Woofy, because I saw your message about it. Because in the affidavit, when it talks about Maddie's room, and let's go over to that just quickly. It says a single bed, and I think that's why. I followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side was Kaylee's, the dog. Okay. The bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereafter Mogan bedroom, which was situated on the southeast of the third floor. Hold on, you guys. Muting to sniffle, which I really do try to do anyways, because I'm coughing and sniffling like crazy. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. So that leads people to believe, why did they say that like that? Because it's a twin size bed possibly. And also because I think that the way that it fit down in the back of that truck. I don't know what you guys think. And we're going to go back to that picture. I want to say though, this picture, you know, trigger warning. I didn't say that before. This is true crime. I don't feel the need to constantly say that. However, I do, when I saw this photo yesterday, my stomach turned and I couldn't stop looking at it. It's, I don't know. Oh, good. You're not doing the fake audio. Twin bed will fit into a truck bed. Anything bigger has to be tilted. Now, I know someone has enhanced this. I had and made the dark stain much darker so that you can see it better. I just can't do that. I don't want to show that on here with you guys just because it's tough to see. This is tough to see anyways, you know, and we got to remember, especially when you're putting stuff out. Look, I know you get what could be a scream that was taken next door, and that's interesting. I'd like to hear it too, right? But is the video or the view, is it that important that YouTube sees it, that the public, I don't know. I question, especially if you have relationship with the family. I don't know. It's a fine line. I think that it's a personal thing. But it's just, for me, it's something that doesn't sit right with me. So I don't want to show the darkened version, but you can see it, right? So we can imagine, it doesn't look like 2, you know, so I don't know. We don't need to see that stuff. I don't think it's right to put it on YouTube or play it. I'm in the UK and bed sizes are different. I think I've traveled all over the USA and think y'all would think our double bed was a dog's bed. By the way, just call me D. Yeah, the Decorus Aventus phonetically decorus eventus. I heard about that too, Rebecca, as rumors, but we have never heard that officially. Steve coming out and saying that is a big deal, in my opinion. I work part-time as a paralegal for a criminal defense attorney, and that affidavit was actually pretty detailed, but obviously they have a lot more. Looks like a full to me. I agree, full, not twin. Definitely a twin bed, in my opinion. This, I believe, well, I don't know. Maybe they said single bed, as in the singular only bed in that room. Amy, I thought that was a possibility as well. They have them bagged pretty well for evidence. Well, I was curious about that. I mean, I guess you have to set something on top to keep it from like blowing out of the truck bed, but it just seems like, I don't know, not how I pictured that you would take something away for something like this. It's, if small, it's a twin, but a full-size truck, no way it's a twin. Mary, can you read the part about hearing someone cry? I was thinking it was X crying, but maybe it was Ethan. State's mail said, I'll help you, but does it say? Well, let's go back to it. Single bed meant one to Woofy. Okay, let's go back to here. I have to get to Dylan's statements. I'm still blown away by this DoorDash. How does within 15 minutes, I don't know, it just seems like, is there going to be more that comes out about that? And we're going to, okay, so, and remember, he circled the home 3 times before he stopped. Dylan stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the 2nd floor. She was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. Now, I'm going to pause there because we went over yesterday this theory that she could have been on Molly, on something like that. Typically, you don't sleep when you're on that stuff. I mean, you will crash after, but it's more of an upper. It's going to, give you, it's almost like Adderall or something if you don't have ADHD. Dylan stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Goncalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the 3rd floor. A short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Goncalves say something. Okay, so she thought it was, they do clarify, she thought it was Kaylee that says there's someone here. I think that they assumed it was Xana, or maybe I just assumed that. Let's keep going. A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed, okay, yes, this could also have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using TikTok. Dylan stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. She opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. So no, it doesn't say what she thought was a male crying or a female crying. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So they do clarify it's a male that says that, but they don't clarify before that. And we don't know which male said that. 417, a security camera picks up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times. And I think that that is the house where the camera was removed. So David, I'm not certain that he saw her. I really am not. And I question it too. I don't know how all this stuff happens and then you go and don't come out and check on anybody, anything on your house, on your front door, make sure the door's locked, anything before noon. But also, she's a young, to me, I think that this looks like the outline of a person and maybe their arms or something else. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so I want to show you guys a couple little interesting other things that I found. Let's go here. I love this lady. She's on that
PayPal brings 30%
Deadly
more
Women.
repeat buyers.
He said in the jail, I got the exclusive reporting from a witness in the Pennsylvania jail that he answered 2 questions of jailers. One said, why'd you do it? And he said, I didn't do it. But the other one said, why'd you go to Idaho? And he said, the shopping's better in Idaho. First of all, I can't believe anybody would joke about something so horrendous. Second of all, if you're innocent, you're brought in, why would you say something like this? I wanted to get your read on that comment that was made in the Pennsylvania jail.
Yeah, the snarky sarcasm there is not the mark of an innocent person. It's just not. It is somebody who's narcissistic, smug, and thinks he's going to get away with it. But you just mentioned the internship that he applied for in Pullman, Washington, with the local police, where he wanted to help them with their digital forensic technology as if he was an expert. And that is ironic. Because of course it's the digital forensics, the cell phone, the car video, the videos of his car that got him caught. But
we have to pause for fair use. So just wanted to pause to say, I'm still blown away that he made that comment about the shopping is better in Idaho, and I'm not quite sure what that means. And I don't know, it's just disgusting. But she says that doesn't sound like something an innocent person would say, you know? And then, oh my gosh, that affidavit, like there's so many things. The fact that not only had he been around the house 12 times, but that he circled the home several times the night before. He comes back the following morning at 9 a.m. I don't know. Crazy.
The biggest thing, if you want to just chalk up if he is indeed guilty, how idiotic this is that he is in a death penalty state that doesn't have the insanity defense. It's the only state in the union that doesn't have the insanity defense. So maybe the shopping's better. Was he talking about shopping for victims? It's not just creepy, it's insulting.
Yeah, well, he went to Albertsons. He went to Albertsons at around noon after the murders, and if he's the killer, that's what he was doing after butchering 4 people, shopping at Albertsons that afternoon. Okay, the other thing I'm astounded at, and I don't get this at all. 4 a.m. the noises begin, and they wake up Dylan, the surviving roommate, and she thinks she can hear Kaylee upstairs. She thinks she can hear Xana. Xana just got a DoorDash delivery at 4.
Ashley Banfield, you are not the only one who doesn't get this at all. I think this, since the affidavit has came out, like my brain, it has completely gripped me. It is what I've thought about like nonstop. It is, oh my gosh. I know that you guys probably have experienced that as well.
4 a.m. and the killings happened in this 15-minute to 16-minute period. I can't understand how you could see lights on, a DoorDash delivery arriving at a home, and be killing within 15 minutes. Does this make any sense?
Well, just keep in mind that nothing about this makes sense. But what is startling is the confidence with which the killer would have gone in the door within 12 minutes after the DoorDash delivery. We assumed, of course, they were all sleeping in their beds, but now that we know the timeline, you get a DoorDash delivery, you're eating it in the next 12 minutes. This person came in, we know that we believe Xana was on TikTok at the time based on her digital footprint on her phone.
I would love to see what she, just out of my own curiosity, what she was watching on TikTok. And I hope that they have more of an idea of not only the order which it occurred, which I think they will, because they're going to have victim A, B, and C's DNA in victim D's wounds. If that, I have a lot of questions about this.
It represents a tremendous level of confidence, hubris, if you will, to think, I'm going to go in there. I know there are people in there. There was just a delivery in there, and begin the stabbing spree. The page 4 of that affidavit just made my blood curdle, Ashley, to think that there was, crying, that there was a thud, that there was whimpering, and we're certainly not putting any blame on the surviving roommate. I think what she witnessed was absolutely traumatic. But for him to then walk past a living witness and leave her alive makes no sense whatsoever unless somebody
Casey,
is in a
Can you
yeah.
can you give me 10 seconds here? Literally 10
Sure.
seconds. Do you think this is the first time killing?
Yes, I do, because of all the mistakes made.
Interesting, huh? And we've talked about if we think this is his first time, and yeah, I have a theory of what happened. Ooh, I'd love to hear that. All you victim shaming. Pin Dizzy, number one, nobody's victim shaming. Number two, no one said she's on drugs. She's in college, and that, you know, them partying would not be surprising. That is just a rumor that has went around. So I mean, please don't come here with that. We've said on this channel and every channel I've watched multiple, like, that people are getting so upset. Please don't attack Dylan. She is just a kid. She was likely in fear. She was likely shocked. I mean, just come on. But we do not understand. You can come up, Melissa. Just because we do not understand exactly how doesn't mean that we're victim blaming. Okay. It's true crime. And we're talking about what's happened and kind of all the possibilities and that kind of stuff. Yeah, ask questions without attacking. We're just a little confused. Just got here. Did you play it? I did not play it. No. The whimpering is heartbreaking. It really is. Janice said she'd love to hear your theory. He killed 4 people in only 15 minutes. Bystander effect also says some may not intervene unless others do first. Sinister Soldier, that's sweet. There is plenty of underage drinking at the home, so it's not that far-fetched. No, it's not at all. I can tell you, the only time in my life I've ever seen or heard of people having and doing Molly was in college. Mama Bear? Oh my gosh, I have a million of them. I can't make up my mind. Okay, I'll let the last few seconds of this play while we're waiting on her.
Because if he had done it before, he would not have been this sloppy. But just because this was, in my estimation, the first time, if we hadn't have caught him, I doubt it would have been the last.
Casey Jordan, I knew you were the person to ask. Thank you so much for this. We'll have you back for sure.
Good to be here, Ashley.
I love
Thank
her.
you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
Okay, so I'm just having this in the background here. Oh, there she is. Because Steve Goncalves also was on Cuomo. He's done like several interviews since the affidavit dropped. Hey, Melissa.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
I'm actually still a little bit blown away by Steve coming out and saying how one of the victims had passed out and one of them was hyperventilating. I mean, I still have questions because the Moscow PD specifically said that the 911 call originated from within the residence, but then the summoning of friends first. So I'm trying to put those pieces together and try to make sense of it, but I'm sure as more information comes out, we'll figure it out.
Well, I'm the same. I'm blown away by that, and I'm also questioning. And I was talking to in a group with Kelly and Amber, and I found it interesting. They said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Steve has already heard and kind of talked about some of the rumors online. So did this come from? I would assume that it would come from police and it would be factual. However, is it possible that
it was a rumor from the beginning? It was a rumor from the beginning, but I always felt like, listen, Moscow PD released so little, so we had to really focus on what they did give us. And they said that friends were summoned first because they believed someone on the second floor was unconscious. And then the 911 call was made and multiple people spoke to the 911 dispatcher before the first responding officer arrived. And so it's like, all right, so if the call originated from within the house, that leads me to believe that call happened before either of the roommates went outside. If they say within the house, I'm taking it as it's within the house. Or do they mean that's the property, that's the lawn? And is summoning friends the same as running outside? And yeah, a lot of friends live close. Were they running outside frantically? And so it got the attention of neighbors to come over. I don't know. But still, it's just an odd choice of how they worded it based on what we do know happened.
Well, see, that's interesting because I don't know. In the beginning we kind of heard it was outside, but the way that that's worded would make me think in the house as well. And you would think that Dylan would have to see something walking from her bedroom out anywhere.
Well, now I'm thinking is that Dylan may have. I would really love to see Dylan's phone information for all of those hours. And when I say that, I'm not trying to throw shade at her. I'm just curious. And did she maybe call Bethany downstairs and ask her, yo, can you come up and meet me up here? You know, like I heard whatever, you know, I'm kind of freaked out. And that's when both of them saw and then kind of ran out the house. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know either. It's so mind-boggling. This case, it will eat you alive because there's so many possibilities. Things aren't 100% clear. There's so many rumors, lots of people talking and speaking out, so it's making things muddy. Like,
right.
What's your theory on what happened in general? How do you think that she was able to get her DoorDash and all of this within such a small amount of time?
It is such a small window. Okay. It's actually less than 15 minutes because if we're going based on when his car was last seen and it was making those 3-point turns and it was, driving up and down, that means you can't start the window of time from there. He had to have time to get off camera, park, and then go into the house. The same thing by the time we see him booking at 4:20. Well, then you give it like a minute or two before that of him leaving. So really the window of time is so tiny. So if we're going based on what Dylan is stating, she said around 4 a.m., she heard what she believed was Kaylee roughhousing with the dog upstairs, playing with the dog. I think, and this is where I struggle because it says around 4 a.m. Well, does that mean 3:55? Does that mean 4:05? That's a very big difference when we're talking about Brian arriving at 4 a.m. And so I think that there is a chance that Brian already was in the house at the time. I think when Dylan is hearing what she perceives as Kaylee and Murphy playing around, it's actually Brian upstairs and the dog making noise. And so I think at that same time, they say the DoorDash came around 4 a.m. Again, is that 3:55 or 4:05? It makes a big difference because basically they're coming in at the same time. So I think that Brian was already upstairs and Xana either was eating her food in the kitchen or she was eating her food in her room and then made her way to the kitchen. And we see that Jack in the Box bag sitting on the kitchen sink with a knocked over soil of the plant. So what I think is Ethan was sleeping, Xana was eating. His intention was to always leave after going upstairs with Kaylee and Maddie. Now, the question is, did he anticipate Ethan being there? Because I thought he may have been watching them the entire time, but we know from the phone data, he wasn't there when they arrived. He was still home at his apartment. So he wouldn't have known all who came into the house. So I think that he went upstairs and then on his way back out to go out the sliding door, that is when him and Xana are confronted. And when Dylan says, I heard someone's in the house, she thought it was coming upstairs because the way her door is positioned at the bottom of the stairs, that's the way sound travels. But it was really Xana screaming because they got confronted. Someone's in the house and she books it towards her room. And that's when he kills her, follows her to her room. And that is why she is on the floor. And then Ethan is in there to his surprise. A struggle occurred. Now we know that the dog is barking because the audio next door picks up on it. So this is unplanned. Screaming is happening, noises, and he's freaked out now. So now he wants to leave. And then as he goes to leave, Dylan opens that door. But between the noise and the unexpected of those two, I think he anticipated that 911 already may have been called at that point. So he made the decision to leave. Because if he believed that either the neighbors called, because that was loud, it picked up on the next door neighbor's video. So if the neighbors called or even anybody else in this house, If he believed 911 was already on their way, he wouldn't have stopped to then kill Dylan. At that point, I'm trying to get out. So I really think, based on the information that we know now, that he went upstairs and his intention was to leave. But because Xana was awake and potentially in the kitchen, they crossed paths. That is who Dylan heard say, someone's in the house, ran back. Ethan was unexpected. And at that point, it was a commotion. There were loud noises. Imagine the dog is barking. He's on edge, right? Now that dog is barking. This is all adding to his anxiety and crap. This is now noisy. This is drawing attention. I got to get out of here. And so when he passed Dylan, that might have already triggered him more to think, crap, cops might be on the way. And so he takes over an hour drive. He only lived 10 minutes away, yet he's driving for over an hour. I think at that point, he's ditching whatever he can. And then he gets home and then he's waiting and hours is passing. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, no knocks on the door, nothing on the news. Hears nothing about the killings, which he would expect to hear, right? He just passed a witness. You'd think 911 would be called. And so eventually curiosity starts to kill him and eat him up to the point where he gets in his car and does a drive-by because he wants to see what the hell's going on at that house. And he's passing to see if there's any type of activity. So that's my working theory as of now.
You know how many people in the chat agree with you? And I think that's like every person is like, oh my God, I agree. And you know what? I agree too. I wonder now, I'm not 100% if he was in the house before or not, but I think that makes perfect sense, him already being there. And that would be the only reason that he would leave. If he saw Dylan, that would be the only reason why he would leave her, because think about it. You could take 5 more minutes or whatever, or you could just get the hell out of there. Yeah. At that point, you already suspect that if things are loud, there's a lot of commotion. Why not just get the hell out of there?
Hold on one second.
Thank you, Cassie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And we had heard about the audio. I don't want to play it on here, but I definitely will check it out. And I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
He went to that 3rd floor with intent. If this was just about killing, 1st floor had direct access to outside. That's your getaway. 2nd floor, direct access to outside. That's your getaway. Just like Steve said, there's a reason he went up to that floor. Maybe his only purpose was to go up there. How do we know it wasn't for Maddie? How do we know everything that they said about Jack with Kaylee leaving for Texas? Maybe he was watching her. We know that he went there at least 12 times. He had just moved there in August. And August 21st, he gets that seatbelt citation 5 minutes away from the house. So it's almost like he has been watching either the people or this house from the moment he got there. And so it makes me question if his entire purpose of going to Washington was to follow the footsteps. This is the same college that Bundy went to. This is under the same professor that taught the BTK killer. Did he go there with these intentions to always? It was the day before classes start. That is when he was 5 minutes outside of that house, 5 minutes away, and got that citation.
That's crazy.
This is a brand new place. He shouldn't be familiar with the places. He shouldn't be familiar with the people. Yet he was already there. So he was watching that entire time. But it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre.
The weird thing is like, why that then? Because think about it. You're in a college town of your own where there's plenty of, I'm sure, beautiful girls, like, you know, girls living in houses together like that. I'm so curious as to why exactly these girls. And I want to know your opinion on, do you believe that the sheath was left intentionally or unintentionally?
Unintentionally.
Okay.
I think this is his first killing. And as smart as he may think he is, there are things that you cannot plan for. There are things that happen unexpectedly and in the moment. And I think that he wasn't thinking. Now people ask, well, why didn't he leave his sheath behind? Like, why did he even bring it? Well, I don't think he'd walk around with that open weapon, like, in his pocket, you know? Like, I think that on that hour drive back to his apartment, wherever he was going, that was the moment where he realized, oh crap, I left my sheath. When he's like kind of like looking at everything and gathering. And that's why I think he anticipated a knock on the damn door. Like, you don't know, you know, like if you crossed past with Dylan And she saw his eyebrows and she said he was walking towards me, which means he had to be walking from the direction of Ethan and Xana. He saw her. He absolutely saw her. But for whatever reason, he made the decision to get out of there. And that's why I think Ethan and Xana weren't planned. And it's such a tight time frame. Like, it's such a tight window of time. I think he went up to them, Kaylee and Maddie. He may not even anticipated Kaylee being there. And then on his way down, that is when him and Xana cross paths. Xana goes running, says someone's in the house. That is what Dylan heard. And that is why she is on the floor, because she never fully made it to the room. Ethan is there. He did not expect Ethan. He was not watching them. He was not there when they arrived home at 1:45 a.m. He was still at his apartment. So he didn't know. He wouldn't have known Ethan was there. And so loud noises. We know Steve said there was a fight down there. It was a mess. So I could only imagine if that wasn't your plan, and now all of a sudden all of this noise is happening, a struggle is happening, and this dog is barking, that means you got to get out of here. And that's why when he passed Dylan and he looked at her, the smartest decision in his mind was to get out of there ASAP.
So do you think that Xana was yelling to Ethan, like, hey, there's someone in the house?
Yeah.
To Ethan. I do too. I do too, to get his attention. Now, how did this bag make it back to the sink? And do you believe, I said this from the beginning, I thought that this happened during the struggle, because who leaves like a pot knocked over and doesn't pick up the dirt? You wouldn't do that. And people were like, well, they're college kids, and I could see that, but I still believed that it most likely happened in the struggle. How do you think the food made it back to the sink? Or did Xana leave?
That's why it's so important when they say that around 4 a.m. is when Dylan heard what she perceived Kaylee and Murphy playing upstairs. And around 4 a.m. is when the DoorDash happened. It's like, wait, I need to know what came first. Like, there's a big difference between 5 minutes here because we're working on such a tight window. I think either A, Brian was already upstairs when the DoorDash came, but I have a feeling he may have seen the DoorDash guy come and then go right inside. I think Xana probably went to her room. She's eating. She's scrolling through TikTok. Brian's upstairs. And then in the same time that she's making her way to the kitchen, putting her bag there and going back to her room is the moment Brian's coming down those stairs. And that is why Dylan perceived someone's in the house came from upstairs, because the noise came right outside of her door, which would normally travel from up the stairs. But really, it was Xana passing from the kitchen, him coming down the stairs in that little hallway, and she ran.
Oh my gosh, how horrific. Melissa, it's literally what nightmares are made of. It's so scary. I don't know. The sheath was beside Maddie. So see right here, it says the knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side.
Yep.
Let's go back to that picture though, now that we know that of the mattress. What are you thinking about that, Melissa?
What about
this picture?
It's grim. It's dark, but I'm surprised they didn't cover it with black protective casing, because they knew people were going to take the photos, but it's what I expected. This is a quadruple homicide, and most were in their bed. So it's not surprising, but it's somber. It's sad.
Yeah, it is. Okay, but do you believe that this is from, I don't know. I'm wondering if it's Maddie's bed or whose. I don't know.
I would anticipate. See, it's hard to tell. I don't know, but what I do know is Xana was on the floor, so I don't anticipate much of her blood to be on the bed. We do not know where Ethan was. They never clarified, but we do know Kaylee and Maddie were both in one bed, so that's two people in one bed. I'd anticipate more blood. So I'm going to assume this is Xana's bed, but Ethan's blood, and the reason that the blood secreted outside on the foundation was because Xana was on the floor, so her blood may have pooled, got to the crevice, and then gravity itself would have pulled it down.
Right. Okay. That makes sense that it would be Ethan, because I was thinking the same thing, like how this couldn't be Maddie's unless I guess they were on top of each other. That was a rumor that we have heard as well, and I don't know. I guess we just have to wait and see for some of the details. I can't believe they didn't cover it with black either. I mean,
right.
That's to me mind-blowing. And also, I just feel for the families. They see a lot of this stuff, they want to know it, of course, but the mom even said they don't want necessarily all the gruesome details. So
Right.
MK says it's a TAVEC cover typically used in crime scene cleanup, not unusual at all.
I'm not saying it's unusual, but the high profile case and knowing it's going to get out, I'm surprised that they didn't maybe put a tarp over it or anything like that. They knew that photos were going to be grabbed.
So I'm just curious, do you have a theory on who you think he was stalking? Just like, of course, all this is just our speculation, you guys, but.
Well, I eliminate Ethan. Again, I always thought, did this, because with the window of time we originally had was 3 to 4 a.m. So I thought he was already outside the house, saw them all come in, waited, and then went in. Now we know he was home when they got home. So he didn't even know Ethan was going to be there unless he, for whatever reason, knew. Everything that we have so far implies he did not know. Now the question is, did he know Kaylee was going to be there? Was he always obsessed with Kaylee? Was he watching Kaylee and everything everyone applied to Jack as far as she was leaving? She was going to Texas. He couldn't handle it. Well, apply that to Brian. Maybe Brian was always watching Kaylee. It puts a little bit more credibility into this stalker that we've heard about. I never really put too much weight into it, but we do have a sixth sense. We have intuition. We have the gut feeling. And to know that he was at least in that area 12 previous times, I think that that's what she was picking up on, that someone was watching, someone was there. And so it may have been her leaving that triggered him to make this move. I don't know.
My God, that is just so sad. I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe it is the stalker too. And we know that Steve initially, now I don't know now what he has said about this, but initially said when Brian was arrested that there were they've made some connections, but they weren't ready to speak on that yet.
I think they overlap, that there isn't a direct connection, but given that they live so close to one another, they both go to colleges, there's going to be parties, events, local bars, even the food truck. There might be certain aspects that kind of overlap where they may have been running in the same circle, like kind of outer circle, to where he may have seen them before at a party. Now, would they recognize him? No, but he may recognize them, especially if he's been watching. But I don't think that there is a direct connection. But again, the entire move here, just to know he was there August 21st, that is the same month he moved there. He should not be familiar with these surroundings, these people, nothing. Imagine moving to a brand new state, a brand new city. He was there the night before, 11:40 p.m. on a Sunday, the night before classes started. Why was he there already? And
that's crazy.
It makes me, I swear, like I'm starting to question if his entire purpose of going to this college was very methodically planned, chosen, where he's taking little things from his mentors, so to speak, the serial killers that he looks up to. We know Bundy, also did killings outside of the fraternity house or sorority house. And Bundy went to this school. This is the professor. He chose to take the class of the professor who also taught BTK and wrote books on him. And did he always make the choice to come here this is his work of art. This is his master plan. And it's his canvas. And he wanted to paint it, but he takes little aspects of all these killers and incorporates it.
Oh my God, it's horrifying. Hold on. We have somebody backstage called 2 Foot Fred. That's why I put like an overlay up. Let me see who this is. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. This is Fred, 2 Foot Fred. I've been in Brittany J's panel quite a bit.
Okay. Welcome.
And I thought I'd been on Melissa's, but maybe not. But yeah, I'm not going to show anything. I don't even have my camera on.
Okay.
I promise I'm not going to do whatever you guys call it, ding dong or whatever you guys call it. I promise.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I just had to make sure because you never know with people.
You never know.
I know. And I actually was watching Brittany's stream when that weirdo came on, and she did the same thing to him. But he was the one that we thought I thought for a minute might have been who now is BK. But it turned out.
Yes.
Yeah, he was on. He had a camera on for a little while, and man, he just looked scary. In a normal kind of way, you know what I mean? kind of like almost like BK, but anyway, go ahead, ladies. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought I'd hop on for a little while before I have to get my Saturday started here.
Okay, yeah, no, you're fine. Peach just sent me this article. I haven't actually seen this yet, but I think it's got other photos of things that they were taking out. Have you seen it yet, Melissa?
Yeah, it also had blood on what appeared to be a desk.
Oh
Have you
my
ladies
God.
heard that? Have you heard the audio from that story yet?
Mm-hmm.
You have?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
I won't say anything. I'm very respectful of your awareness of people's streams. I won't say anything more about it, but it's you need to hear it.
Well, there's a high likelihood that it is not real. So just gotta keep that in mind. There are sick people who, create that type of stuff. So
yeah, that like the one goofball that had the heavy breathing in it, and yeah. And
this looks like a small bed right there, doesn't it?
It looks like a full-size bed.
Alex, if I say anything, if I use a word you'd rather me not use, like I said, I'm very respectful.
No, you're fine.
No hard feelings. I'll I'll take it out of my vernacular for the time
I
being.
gotta hop down into chat, but thank you so much, Allie, for having me up. I'll be in chat.
Okay, Melissa, thank you for sharing your theory. And you guys, Melissa has a channel. It's her name, Melissa Jade, which she used up here. Go check her out. Hold on, let me put it back where we can see your name. Hold on, before you go, it's that right there, Melissa Jade. And you can search that with Idaho.
Thanks so much, guys. All right, I'll be in chat. Bye.
Okay, bye.
I hope I didn't run her off.
No, you're fine. Okay. You're absolutely fine.
I didn't think I did. You're all a bunch of. I really respect you, ladies. You two and Avery and Brittany J and Mallory and everybody over there, and I think you guys ladies are doing fantastic stuff here, and you all be very proud of the channels you're building.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much, and I appreciate you coming up. Do you have a theory before I read through this article?
Yeah, let me kind of gather my thoughts here. But first of all, we need to tell everybody out there to hit that like button for Alex, for sure. I mean, it's a free way. You're very welcome. It's a free way to help her out big time, more than you know, because my brother's a streamer, and early on, like I'd be sitting right beside him at his house looking for his stream that he was on right then, and we couldn't find him. So the more interaction there is, including hitting that like button or subscribing, if you will, and then even going a step further by ring-a-ding-ding that bell. And,
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Glow. Sorry. Thank you, Glow, so much. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you, Fred.
You have about
2-foot Fred.
You're very welcome. And the just get it out of the way. The 2-foot Fred. I'm a little person. Like legitimately, I'm 38 inches tall. And
oh, wow, how cool.
I have been in traveling, and then now it's kind of off and on, but in the entertainment business with the band Big and Rich.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I just thought, I thought I'd get that out of the way, just so that to give you context that I'm not that I'm a superstar, but I'm not going to ever do anything that, I'm used to to kind of being in front of a lot of people and whatnot. And I'm not going to pester you about being on your stream. I just feel, when you're here, or I'm sitting here at the house and I'm hearing somebody, like your stream up here. And it's like, when you have something you want to add, it's like I'm busting at the seams to want to be like, oh, I want to say that.
Well, you come right up and say it. You say whatever you want. Give us your theory and what you think, and then I'll read through this little article.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Well, appreciate it. My theory is, first of all, I feel like Dylan is getting victimized all over again. And while they're, like I think you said, Melissa or Alex, the girl said earlier that there are questions, legitimate questions, but I'm not sure that. I think it's more about how we ask them, or how they're asked, or how they're presented, as opposed to the actual questions. I mean, you can ask something in a hateful way or in a condescending or in a respectful way, or you can ask something more in a endearing, like, in like, I'm so sorry you had to go through this. What in the world was going on with you? Between 5 a.m. and noon or whatever it might be. There's. I still think we don't know what we know what we don't know, or we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
As far as so much has been cleared up by this. Last night they were calling it the affidavit, but the affidavit. So much was cleared up by that, but not nearly enough. And but I'm not sure that it's not their responsibility to inform us. And
Right.
at the same time, I know that this case has gotten me into all this true crime. I had no idea who any of you guys were, ladies or gentlemen. I had no idea that this genre even existed until this case. And just one
Wow.
by one, I started, cluing into some of the streamers. And I know a lot of you, I'm not sure about you, but a lot of the streamers have kind of have become streamers from this case or close to it.
Yeah,
And,
a lot have. My channel, I've been doing it for a couple years.
Okay.
This like spring will be 2 years, but I did the same thing. I started with the Watts case. I didn't know this world existed really until I got very interested in that case, and it kind of introduced me into this world.
Yeah, and you should be very proud of yourself. I mean, and the talent, like, it's hard for me to believe that some of you are not. And you may be, and don't let me talk down to you, but there's so many of you that ought to be doing this for a living, like in the real world. Not that this isn't, but like, as a daily job. I think that you're that good at what you do. I mean, you're
That's
very
very
welcome. I
sweet.
mean, you find things, and I thought I was good as far as sleuthing. How do I put this respectfully? Sleuthing exes or sleuthing. I don't want to, because I've been very careful not to use the word, like stalking. But
you
we
can
all
say,
do.
hey, say whatever you want on here. I don't
Okay.
censor
But
over here.
looking into the new significant other of an ex or whatever it may be, I thought I was pretty good at that. But you guys are excellent at finding out information. I'm like, where the hell did they get that? And but I know that it comes with time as far as getting information, and then and like you said, I can't help but to think, and I won't mention the name of the other streamer, but the streamer that put that audio out, I would have a hard time putting something like that out, knowing that it could be very fake or quite contrived. I would just think that I would feel so bad, and I mean, I would probably almost stop streaming if I was in that position.
I mean, imagine Ethan's family, okay? Like, they wake up and now they have to hear what people are saying as their baby screaming for his life before he lost it.
Yeah. Yeah. And as well as, going back to Dylan and Bethany, putting the more pressure on Dylan, especially. Now, Bethany was on the first floor, correct?
Yes.
In her bed, we're pretty sure in her bedroom. So she has a little bit more plausible deniability than Dylan. However, from a standpoint of, I can't help but to think that in the middle of all this or shortly thereafter, that they were probably texting each other, I'm guessing. I think one of you girls said something about you would love to see Dylan's phone information, and I would too.
Yeah, me too.
Very telling. She may have reached out to, we just don't know, but if that house, if the sound traveled that well in that house, then I also would think that she would be scared to death to do anything with her phone that might make enough noise for Koberger to know that she was in there and awake. In other words, if he hears the phone 911, Moscow 911, how can we help you? Or, or what's your emergency? Man, all it would take is for him to hear that and she'd be a goner. And I feel like that her survival kicked in, and I understand that people are asking questions of her, but I think it's so early in the process. It's all going to come out in court. It's and if it doesn't, then she'll probably give some sort of an interview to get closure. I'm guessing if she never has to testify. I feel like yeah.
I'm sorry. A lot of
go ahead.
people have commented about if she had her phone with her and stuff. And I just don't see her not having her phone in her room. It's her room, okay? She probably has her laptop in there too. But this day and age, and especially kids, their phone is glued to their hand.
Yeah.
It's either on the charger or in the hand or, right there. So I do believe that she had her phone. But I also know that when you're partying age and your people are underage drinking and things like that, you're going to not call the cop, not call the cops unless you have to. And at that time, I'm sure she didn't imagine that there was a quadruple homicide in the house.
She had no idea, in my opinion. And you're exactly right. And think about it this way. Think about it put yourself back in that. I'm quite a few years away, but I still can kind of put myself back in that mindset. Okay, so let's look at it from her side or from their side, from the kid's side. She, a lot of commotion going on. She calls 911. The police come, and it turns out to be nothing but a couple of different bedrooms having romance in one bedroom and maybe a lover's quarrel in the other one. And they've all been drinking, and all of a sudden you got, multiple people getting tickets written for underage drinking. You got maybe pot, who knows what else going on that may be on the edge, but not, I hate to say that there's kind of a line that, and even if they weren't crossing that line, it's nothing compared to what happened. But she was probably scared to death. I mean, her name would be Mud in that house if she was the one that got everybody busted for something.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's a lot of pressure on somebody that age. I mean, more so than what I probably have a lot of friends that would be of the opinion like, screw that, she should have called anyway. No, that's not the way they think. They don't think that way. They think, to somebody that age, getting a ticket for underage drinking or, getting their bag of pot taken, confiscated or whatever is probably, in their mind, is the worst thing that can happen in that moment, period. That would be devastating, I'm guessing. Not to mention, the police had been there. We know of at least, 2 or 3 times for noise complaints, like in September and October, I think. The house was known from that point of view. So if Dylan was premature, ever just completely take away the homicides, and let's just say that she was calling for no reason in her mind, the possibility of. I don't know. I go back and forth on that, but I think I said on Brittany's channel last night. I'm sorry, I keep bringing another channel up.
That's okay.
I read someplace, and I wish I could find the article, where Dylan had she had a pretty traumatic childhood experience. And because of that, she'd been having nightmares. And the article I read said there's a fairly good possibility, because she had been sleeping, and in my mind, the article didn't say this, but there might have been some substances involved. We don't know. But let's just say that she was sleeping and was awakened, and she could not, for a period of time, she might not have been able to figure out whether that was a nightmare, that when she saw that guy in the hallway who ended up being Brian, she couldn't discern whether it was fantasy or I mean, a nightmare or real life. I'm of that opinion anyway. And I don't think he saw her. Do you think he saw her when she opened the door?
I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't know. I think that this, again, let me pull this little graph up. This is such an interesting way to look at it because you can see that at one moment in his path, they would be directly face to face. Her door opens inward, though, allegedly. So I'm not quite sure, actually. I don't know.
Well,
I just don't know.
Yeah, this is a good graphic here. Let's see, let me take a real quick look at this. Well, now, they may or may not be face to face, and the reason I say that is, what if she was looking through the crack of the door by the hinges back there in the back of the door?
It's possible, she could have.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've seen people look through their door that way if they're scared, but also I think she could have barely cracked it just right there as well. And I think it also depends on what direction he's like, because he obviously had to walk past here a couple times, so.
Unless he got in the house, the one school of thought is that he went in behind, like the door didn't get shut all the way from the DoorDash when Xana went to get her DoorDash. And
hey, Donna,
he went in behind that because the door locks like they had on the front door, they don't lock automatically. They can be set to lock like after 5 or 8 minutes. So it could have been unlocked. It could have been set to lock, but still unlocked. When he could have slipped in behind after the DoorDash guy had been there. In the front. But then. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'll be very curious to see in court. Maybe we'll hear from the delivery driver who brought the DoorDash. I think that's going to be really interesting. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think the possibilities are endless. That's why it's so mind-boggling because
I like how law enforcement, though, I like how the detectives supported Dylan's story with the shoe print. Like it seems like everything they said in the affidavit, they supported with some kind of a supporting fact, whatever it was. And they probably waited until they had that, all those supporting whatever pieces of information or whatever you'll call it, before they did the affidavit. From what I understand, that the one we got from Idaho. Now I know the one in Pennsylvania was very limited, and it didn't have to be anything more. Really, not a whole lot more to put in it. But the one in Idaho, from what I understand, was excuse me, was quite a bit more detailed than what they usually are. From what I hear, anyway, they're not usually quite that detailed.
From my experience, and at the end, I'm going to talk about the Lori Vallow case, which has an update, which is also in Idaho.
Okay.
They have put out with that case so much information. I mean, it hasn't went to trial yet. At the pretrial hearing, they had it was like a 2-day thing with witnesses and explaining. They from my experience, the state of Idaho does put out more information than most.
Oh wow, interesting. Very interesting. Now, maybe the defense in that case, and I'm asking, I'm not telling because I have no idea anything about that case. Maybe the defense had already had a chance to go through all their discovery, and then they put that information out.
I don't know because he said he still they just recently had to push it back because they didn't have all the information. Like he hadn't had time to go through all the information. Okay. Now, do you believe that this right here is Brian, or do you think it's someone else? And remember, his head is slightly turned to the left, so the angle is not identical, but it's close.
Now, I'm not seeing this. This is the first time I've seen this picture. I saw the other one of the guy walking. That looks like Brian to me. It sure
I think
does.
I think it does too. I'm undecided, but I think that it's possible.
Wow.
Because we don't see that same angle, the direct angle. Yeah, I can zoom.
Blow it up a little bit. I'm on my phone, so.
So we don't see if he would turn his head, if he in the orange had his head turned just slightly to the right, it would be at the same angle. So, but his nose does look like at the end it kind of points downward just slightly on both. I think the cheekbone is very similar, the jawline, even the sideburns. Now the back of the hair is different, but he could have had like a more fresh haircut there. So I don't know.
But the person on the right, though, looks like they have cauliflower ear, and Brian does not.
See, I can't tell about it. Well, on the computer, it's quite blurry compared to how it looked on my phone, like when it's blown up. But the ears, I think, do look slightly different. But like I said, he's turned to the side a little more. So I'm not sure if his head turned and we were looking more at the back of his ear, how it would look.
Although I agree with that 100%. Although the one on the right looks like the ear, or the one that we know is Brian on the left, the ear looks like it's closer to the back of his head, like it's closer to his head. And the one on the person on the right, the unknown person, looks like that the ear is, I agree with the angle is different, but it looks like it still might be further, more, I don't want to say floppy, but more pronounced outward, I guess is how I might articulate it.
Also, another thing is his like where his ear sets in relation to his eyes and his nose and his mouth, it looks kind of similar. I can't tell, but like if you look at him front on, his ears are just a little bit lower than his eyes, which is not that common. And this guy looks like it may be placed in the same, I don't know. The ear does look different right here, like the shape on the back. It looks slightly different, but I'm not willing to rule it out over that because the angle is different. So it's hard.
Now, let me ask you this: as a female, does it look like to you? And I know part of that is the kid in front of him, the brim of the other person's hat. But does it look like to you the person on the right has a bunch of hair up underneath the hat? Like long hair? The reason I say that is because of the back of the neck, how it looks like it's kind of pulled up at the back.
Right. Seth, on the right, it's from the memorial. And on the University of Idaho website, they have a lot of photos from the memorial. But yeah. Okay, you guys, just let the chat have their opinions and stuff, please, because I don't want to shut people's opinions down.
Have you done a vote, like one if you think this is Brian, and two if I'm just asking if you've done that.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag, I think. And Lover says, I don't think it's him, but very similar.
Go ahead, I'll let you read your...
No, the mods don't need to be yelling at anybody. I'd like for everyone to be able to have their opinion, please. Bedrock Workshop Art. Hey, how are you? Okay, so I think I'm getting ready to switch back to the other case. Is there anything else you wanted to add before that?
I don't think so, other than the fact that I would say for everybody to take a deep breath, and I don't mean your chat specifically or your viewers, but I just think that everybody in general, I think people are getting to the point where their sleep is needed for all of us. People are testy. They've been dealing with this for a couple of months. Yes, we're all still very interested and we want justice for the Ethan and the girls. But I would just give my, I just say take a deep breath before you really tear into somebody or support your opinion. Everybody deserves to have their say, as long as it doesn't directly hurt anyone. There's nothing good that would come out. It's going to come out of being right in this. I mean, yeah, we all want to be right, but I think that being right and I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically, it's not worth it in the long run. You need to think think in the bigger picture and think about the four young people and possibly 5 that are going to lose, that have lost their lives out of this thing, and the 5th being the perpetrator. And I feel like if he's found guilty, then I'm absolutely supportive of that method of punishment. I thought one last thing, Alex. I thought that the Goncalves interview with Banfield, and I've lost track of days. I think it was yesterday, but it might have been the day before. Was an extremely good interview from a standpoint of I thought their answer when she asked him if they supported the death penalty, and I thought their answer, like in a 2 or 3 part question, when they said that they, were going to forgive him, but he didn't, something about didn't deserve to be left on this earth if he is found guilty. And I thought that was a great answer. And I know they're not ready to give forgiveness yet. And I'm not. And I thought their answer in regard to, I was hoping this would happen, but I knew it would have to come from them, but that they would pick and choose the days they were not going to be in the courtroom, because I have a feeling that we're getting ready to see some extremely hard to swallow or hard to take images as well as information about this case that might be unparalleled, especially in this technological and information age that I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I have a nephew. I don't have any kids. I have a nephew, and I can't even fathom.
We watched that yesterday, and they said, I wish that my daughter was in jail and I could call her up and talk to her, and she could still continue her education and that kind of thing. So I agree with them, and I can't imagine to be in their position would be horrific. Hey, Lady B.
Do you think Brian's parents or dad, do you think they knew about it, or where do you stand on his parents?
I don't know. I want to look deeper into the parents because, well, for one reason, there was a retired officer in my chat. He's in here often. He actually has a missing brother. He's been missing 38 years. His name's Harry Milligan. I did a video with him a while back, but he was in here, and he is a retired detective, and he said, I think that, have you looked into the dad? Do you know his background, his history? So I'm going to do that, and I'll probably put it out in a video just because I think it's interesting. I never had looked at it from that perspective. I don't think that they knew. Now, could they have seen signs or maybe after started putting pieces together? I think that's possible. Yeah. But I still want to look into it just to be able to know what the background is and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Do you think the parents knew anything?
I don't think so. The only thing that I think might be possible is that they started to get an idea that something was wrong, and that's maybe one reason why his dad flew out there to ride home with him so that he couldn't hurt anybody on the way home. Across country, if he's by himself, who knows what could have transpired. From what I understand, they are good people. I mean, as good as any of us can be. We're all none of us are perfect. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And I don't think that I think it's just a one of those you can't make this up coincidences about his mom running the article about Ted Bundy in regard to being upset about people celebrating his death. Basically, the gist of it, I think you probably already read it, but the gist of it was 2 wrongs don't make a right kind of thing.
Yes, I did. And then also we went over, by the way, Peach sent it to me, and thank you. But we went over this the other day. His sister was actually in a low budget horror film about, a group of young kids out in the woods who were slashed and stabbed.
Yeah, I looked that up. It's called 2 Days Back, I think is what it's called.
I can't remember. We went through it a couple of days ago, but
yeah. It was in 2011. I looked it up on IMDb. and she's. I'd heard that he was an extra, I guess, on it, but he would have only been about 16 years old, and I couldn't find him, but I found her right away.
Yeah.
On the film, but yeah.
Oh, so you saw it. Interesting.
I didn't see the film, but I saw the trailer and everything.
Okay.
There's two different, but I don't know if you're familiar with IMDb. It's the internet. Let's see, Internet Movie Database. And that's where, like, I've got a profile on there because I've been in a few different films. And anybody that's ever done film work at all whatsoever, if they've been involved with like SAG or AFTRA, will have a profile on there. And it's not something that the actor has to do themselves. I mean, we can manipulate it as far as put profile information on it, profile pic, that sort of thing. But as far as the root information is there, period. And so hers is there. But I didn't get much more out of it than that, just to verify it. And pretty sure it's called 2 days back, but it might have been 2 days in.
Wait, I have it here somewhere because we did discuss it the other day. It's just there's so much information every day that comes out. It can be kind of hard to actually keep up with everything.
Yeah, and it's very consuming. I mean, I couldn't imagine you all. I mean, I don't stream, and I'm still like consumed by it.
Me too. I woke up in the middle of the night and I spent like 2 hours before I went back to sleep looking at stuff, gathering stuff, looking in Facebook groups. But I like to try to find, as much as I can. Someone said just announced on Fox News, Xana and Ethan were the first one killed. Hold on. Wow. Let me try to find that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, you guys. So just a moment. Yeah. But yeah.
My alert, I usually get a Fox News alert. And I didn't, unless it's not coming up because of, it usually comes up anyway though with StreamYard. But that's profound. That means that I'm wondering if Xana let him in. Is what the other thing I'm wondering is if he walked up while the DoorDash was delivering and she thought he was there to see one of the other girls. And she's like, and then went up a flight of stairs and to holler to let him know that somebody was there. And that's what Dylan heard her say. She goes back down to her room. And by the time she gets back to her room, he already had Ethan compromised and then proceeded. She ran over to try to help Ethan. And then the guy took care of her and then proceeded. I just can't. It's driving me nuts how Dylan got out of this.
I don't know. Me too. And you know what? I bet you it's driving her nuts too. She's probably scared to death and wondering why she was spared and that kind of thing. I'm sure that, this has been, I don't know. I feel for it. I can't help it. A lot of people in the comments were saying that wasn't true. You guys, I searched on Google. I was trying to find it, but I don't see anything from Fox News that was posted in the most recent thing is this, where we were also looking at the mattresses being removed and that kind of stuff. Let me see if it's in here, which it could be an interview that's live on the cable and we wouldn't see it immediately.
Let me I'm in my kitchen with my TV. Let me see if I can turn on Fox here. I usually have it on, but my Roku decided it wanted to go back to the home screen, but let me see here real quick because that would be major information.
Absolutely. Let's see. Force was used to gain access. Multiple windows were broken at the parents' house. Yeah. Then we know, if you guys missed it in the beginning, Steve said that Dylan, one of the roommates fainted and one of them hyperventilated.
Yeah, and I think people need to step back on that too, as far as debunking that, because you know what? Does it really matter if they did do that or if they didn't? It's not really going to change the case. And if it did happen, then bless their hearts, back off of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Let me see. I think that we're interested in it because we want to know every detail, right? Yes. but
I'm okay
it's
with that. It's just the
right.
shaming is what I am having a hard time with.
Yes,
Not from
and
you, but some of other streamers in general are kind of hating.
yeah, and I can see why they're questionable, but I also don't want to shame her or anything like that. Here's the latest thing I can find on Fox News on their main page would be this. However, remember Fox News is also local news for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
So there will be other Fox stations that aren't the main Fox station,
Correct.
Let's
Yeah,
see what
your
this
local Fox affiliate.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Where's the one I'm sharing? Here it is. Let's hear this for a moment.
U.S. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Thank you for getting up with us. But my first question is really kind of singling a couple of Bob Bianchi. We had him on a little bit ago, and then former FBI agent Jonathan Gilliam. They have both said something very similar and very interesting in the past 12 hours since this affidavit came out, that they said that it wouldn't shock them if we found out eventually if he had killed other people. What are your thoughts on this?
It's good to be with you this morning, Ashley. My thoughts on that is this clearly is unusual for the human experience, right? I mean, most human beings get along with people, don't plan middle of the night, multi murders. And so he clearly was studying the crimes of serial killers. He clearly, has the indicia of several things. We're going to learn much more. And I'm sure that the police are looking at how he did this crime and comparing it to other unsolved murders, trying to figure out if he is connected.
Okay, you know what? My computer is starting to go dead, so I'm just going to switch to the Lori Vallow stuff because I do want to talk about that before we go any further. I'm going to drop this video in the chat in case anybody wants to go watch it. Let's see.
Go ahead.
I would just wanted to tell you, I so appreciate you coming up. It was nice to meet you. Thank you for giving your opinion. And you're always welcome to come share your opinion here and that kind of thing. So, yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Real quick before I leave here, I'll drop my email in the back chat, in the backstage chat real quick here.
Okay.
And then that way, you never know. And I've got some, and I'm definitely not name dropping, and I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I do have some higher profile friends that I consider very close friends that you never know about something off of me. I might know something I might know somebody that might know something. And again, I'm not saying that I would, but it never hurts to ask.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much. I really do. You never know. What we may be curious about or whatever.
Right. You never know. I'm definitely a consummate dot connector, and that's one thing that allowed me to become successful in the entertainment business and have a lot of friends and a lot of people with my my short term. It was very organic me getting in the business, but I gained a lot of friends very quickly. But thank you very much for having me up.
Thank you.
I'll hop off here so you can do your thing, and God bless you, and have a good weekend.
Oh, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great weekend too.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, Nada, see you later. Okay, you guys, so anybody who has been following the Lori Vallow situation, there's not much that has happened, and I know there are a lot of people in here probably aren't, and that's okay. It's something that I'm very, very close to my heart, and I'm going to follow it till the end. They should be having trial soon in the next few months. It's scheduled for April. So there are some interesting updates with this case that are going to blow your mind if you haven't seen them. I can't believe the nerve of this woman. I honestly cannot. After all the mess we've been through with her mental health and this and that, whatever the court has been put off, listen to this. So I'm going to read you some new court articles, some new court orders, and her attorney and his attorney are asking for some things, and they've put out a couple statements. So this is a notice of alibi, and it says, Lori Vallow was in her apartment in Rexburg, Idaho, when J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan died in the apartment of Alex Cox. Defendant was with Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, and/or Chad Daybell. So she's given a notice that she has an alibi, which, okay. Thank you, William. I'm glad that you're here too. So let's continue because Lori Vallow was in Hawaii when Tammy died at the home of Chad. Defendant was with Melanie Bordeaux and Audrey with another person. So Melanie's already testified for the prosecution, so I don't know why she's using her as her alibi. Now listen to this. They are asking, come now, the attorneys for the defendant, and move this court for an order to allow the defendant and her attorneys to meet with the co-defendant and his attorney. Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were married in Hawaii on November 5th, 2019. On February 20th, 2020, Lori was arrested in Hawaii and extradited to Idaho. She was able to talk to her husband by recorded jail calls from the date of her arrest to June 9th, when Chad Daybell was arrested. The two have spoken by phone only one time since June 9th. Listen to this. They had an arranged phone call on July 26th of 2022. So 6 months ago, they had an arranged phone call that was approved by the prosecuting attorney, and it was not recorded. Okay, that's the first thing that I was like, wow. So they've had a phone call since they've been in there. Me too, pointer lover. No cameras allowed, but the court reporters are allowed in there, and then they can come back and report what happened. Exactly, Tess. I knew that they'd put it off on him too. And correct, you can't be made to testify against your spouse. Listen to this one though. With settlement proposals, mediation, motions, and trial fast approaching, Lori and Chad would like to be able to talk together in person and on the phone about their options. The attorneys for the parties will attend any in-person meetings and phone conversations, but will not record the conversations and will not use the conversations as evidence. The conversations can be deemed as for settlement purposes only. As to rule blah, 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 and the Idaho rules of evidence could apply to the conversations. So they want to be able to meet up and talk about their options privately, not recorded. I know, NorCal girl, I can't believe it. Melanie is, yeah, she's a little, yeah, they're options. Like, really? So what, you guys can lie to, they both have conspiracy charges. So you can do more of that. And I don't know. It's so frustrating. Does Lori's lawyers fail to realize that JJ and Tylee were killed on 2 different days? Melanie G and Warwick were nowhere around when Tylee was killed and maimed. They were there when JJ vanished. That is true. They were killed, pretty far apart. A couple of weeks. She was at the beginning of September, correct? And he was in that last week, beginning of that last week. She killed people with her partner reminds me of this. If she is now admitting she knew they were gone and when it took place, but still went to Hawaii and lied, makes her evil. Well, I don't know if exactly what she's saying, but I can't believe they've been allowed. They had a phone conversation that wasn't recorded 6 months ago. And then now they think that they're going to, and they might be allowed. I don't know. I would hope and pray because I don't know. It just gives them time to get their story straight. And that they were in your husband's backyard, but you didn't know, Lori? Exactly. Well, my computer died. but I could not get over this. We shall see what happens. Trial starts in just a couple months. And, even with Idaho, you guys, this case is huge right now. There will continuously be little things coming out. And maybe right now it won't slow down just yet, but it's going to slow down, and I'm going to be knee deep in this one and knee deep in Letitia Stalk's trial. We also have Classic and Sincere, or Orrin and Orson West. So anyways, let's see. Local News 8 gave credit to Donna Serafina for helping law enforcement to find the kids' bodies and how they were killed months before they were found. That's how I found her. This is unheard of and should be denied. I hope it is, Donna. I'll let you guys know when the judge makes a decision. Tally, September 8th or 9th. JJ, the 22nd or 23rd. BK won't be getting the same treatment. He's not Mormon. Ooh, that's an interesting. I hadn't even thought about that, because I have been kind of comparing his process to this process. Okay, do they deserve that? No, but are they allowed? Not only are they, but they are allowed. Not only are they married, but they are co-defendants. But they are allowed. Not only are they married, but they are co-defendants. Because they're co-defendants, I don't know if they'll be allowed, because wouldn't that give them time to, I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We shall see. If they're actually, Lori, I've heard that as well. There is a little loophole, but I don't know if that's every state. Buried on Chad's property. And the phone call when Lori called Chad from jail, he knew he would be arrested that day. Oh my God, that phone call. It's beyond obvious. I have a feeling we're going to have more from Melanie Gibb as well. She's going to be their star witness. We have not heard from the other Melanie. I don't know if she's going to be, called to testify. Oh, thank you, Pointer Lover. I appreciate that so much. You guys are the best. Thank you. They're allowed to strategize. We shall see. It would give them time to conspire. I don't know how this is okay. Well, they haven't got a ruling on it yet. So it may not be allowed. It may be allowed. I don't know yet. See, a few weeks ago, Chad's lawyer was literally calling her Lori Vallow again and saying that he doesn't want them to be at the same time because, everything Lori's done doesn't mean Chad's done it. He was basically, I'm surprised by this because of that. Okay, Judge Edens made an order that prevents co-conspirators from communicating over 2.5 years ago. What gives? I don't know, but you're correct. He did in the beginning put an order on that they could have no contact at all. I wonder what Melody's bangs will say. I hope that we can still do some stuff covering this when it goes to trial, Jen. That would be so fun. They were found in your husband's backyard. Yep. Thank you. You guys are awesome, Pointer Lover. Oh, Punksy. Punksy sent you for a great live piece. Get yourself a mellow yellow on me. Thank you. I love listening to Jen Lou too. She's really smart and really funny. Ears are different, hairline. Oh, okay. He's still looking at the picture of BK. So we shall see, you guys. I don't know if you're not familiar with the case and want to. It'd be a good way to kind of watch the Idaho court system while it's unfolding and kind of get a better idea of things. Like, for instance, Idaho is the only state that doesn't have the insanity defense. You can, if you are having mental health issues, and you're not competent to be able to understand what you're charged with and help in your own defense, then your case will just get put on indefinite hold until you are competent yet again. But I have several videos on it, and there's many people involved. I created this little graph back in the day to, good, Tess, so that people could kind of keep up with who is who. I have it labeled who's the co-conspirators, who is deceased, and who are members of, they were part of this religious group / possible cult. It's so funny, you know, how many people have said something today about me having a sniffly nose. And if y'all knew how many times I've sat here and muted to cough and sniffle, and also like needed to sniffle so bad as I'm mid talking, but I can't. Yeah, I've been struggling over here, you guys. Chad has been telling his attorney and family he had no knowledge of Lori's kids being dead in his yard. Yeah, like just a couple months ago, if you go and look, Chad and his attorney definitely were making statements that what just because Lori's done something or involved in something does not mean that Chad is. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I'm ready to cut cable. Oh, you are too sweet, and thank you so much. That's really sweet. She's Lori Daybell. Sorry, not sorry. I know, Kid Kitty. He sounded like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh on that phone call. Oh my God. If my computer wasn't dead, we would listen to that. Thank you, Without Borders. Have a great day. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. You know, I appreciate you guys. I enjoy the conversation. I know the mods in the chat were kind of going, thank you, Jen. We're kind of going at it a little bit, and that's okay. My mods are trying to protect me and my channel, and chatters do need to be able to have their voice, so I can get it from all ends, and I just appreciate all of you guys. I am not in Discord, but if you are in Brittany's or something, if that's what you mean, she could put it over there. I don't mind. Yeah, I'm good, Princess Megan Elsa. Just, I'm always sniffly. I think it's from smoking, but I don't know. Oh, thank you, Mama Bear. Thank you, Corey. Lori is sure taking advantage of the law. Thank you, Donna. Screenshots of comments for you. Okay. It is what it is. That's all we need is for Chad and Lori to sit in a room together and get reacquainted and start conspiring again. Of course, they want it all off the record. They've already done it once, you know, so knowing that. Oh, Seth. She had no chance at insanity. She did things to cover her crimes. Yep. I know they do. Just came the chat and way behind new audio. I'm going to go listen to that. I can't play it here, you guys. It just goes against, like, I don't know. I just can't do it. I love you guys. All right, you guys. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for hanging out with me and, you know, discussing all of this. I really appreciate it. Thank you, mods, for being here. I know it can be stressful sometimes when the chats, especially with a little bit bigger chats, and it means the world to me that you guys go through that stress to help me. There I go sniffling again. Oh, yes, yes, I forgot. I have an upcoming video of all the crazy comments that you can receive when you're doing, you know, YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and I hope that you guys will check that out. I'm going to do it on my second channel. So yeah, the documents sound like Lori is going to try to pin everything on Alex. I agree. Thank you, MJ. You're awesome. I really appreciate all of you guys. Okay, Mel, good. Don't even bother. It's fake. I heard it and won't be playing it either. Good. All right, you guys. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, I'll see you soon, okay? Bye.